What if I told you the world's second largest country by land, known for its beautiful landscapes and polite citizens, is facing an economic conundrum that could rock the foundations of its society? Is Canada's friendly demeanor hiding ticking economic time bombs? Stick around as we unravel these intriguing questions. The last economic time bomb will surprise you. At first glance, Canada seems to be doing just fine. Canada is the second largest country in the world by land area, stretching from the Atlantic Ocean in the east to the Pacific Ocean in the west. It's a nation known for its stunning natural landscapes, think Rockies, Great Lakes, and expansive tundras. With a population of reaching 40 million at 2023, it's much less densely populated than its southern neighbor, the United States. The country has a diverse economic portfolio, including significant contributions from the energy sector, particularly oil and natural gas, as well as strong influences from manufacturing, technology, and services industries. But don't let its maple-sweet exterior fool you. Canada is grappling with a series of economic challenges that could impact us all. For starters, let's talk about the productivity gap. Despite a strong educational system, the average Canadian worker lags about 30% behind their American counterparts in productivity. And it's not because they're taking too many hockey breaks. The heart of the matter lies in capital investment. American businesses invest approximately 50% more per worker in capital than their Canadian counterparts. More investment generally leads to more productivity, and this is one area where Canada is falling behind. And where is all this American capital coming from? Well, the US financial markets are a magnet for global investors, while Canadian markets, although strong, don't have the same pull. This discrepancy significantly impacts the ability of Canadian firms to secure the capital they need to grow and innovate. The economic gap between Canada and the US is leading to a brain drain. A disproportionate number of skilled Canadians are crossing the border in search of greener pastures, while far fewer Americans are making the reverse journey. Based on world data, average annual salary in Canada is $53,000 while average annual salary in US is $76,000. In other words, incomes can increase almost 43% by traveling just a few hours south. This talent exodus isn't helping Canada's economic woes. Mysteriously, these skilled Canadians travel south to earn more money when they are young, but will return to Canada when they are retired. Why? Stay with us. The last economic time bomb can explain it. Let's start by talking about the next time bomb, household debt. As of 2023, Canada had one of the highest household debt-to-income ratios among G7 countries, standing at a staggering 184.5%. What does this mean? Well, for every dollar Canadians earn, they owe $1.84 in debt. That's like running a race where for every step forward, you take almost 2 steps back. This debt issue isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's affecting real people. High levels of debt can lead to a reduced quality of life, as people may forego healthcare or education simply to make ends meet. As interest rates are rising at this moment, the burden of this debt will soon become unsustainable for many, triggering a wave of defaults. Speaking of debt, a significant chunk of it is tied to Canada's volatile housing market. Cities like Vancouver and Toronto are notorious for their sky-high real estate prices. The average home price in Toronto reached nearly $1 million in 2021, making it nearly impossible for average earners to afford a home. Now, what happens when these housing bubbles burst? Not only do homeowners find themselves with properties worth less than what they owe, but banks also get hit with bad loans. This could potentially ripple through Canada's otherwise stable banking system. If housing is expensive for the middle class, imagine its impact on the most vulnerable. As of 2023, approximately 35,000 Canadians are homeless on any given night, costing the Canadian economy over $7 billion annually. In cities like Toronto and Vancouver, the homeless population has been on a steady increase, partly due to skyrocketing living costs. This isn't just a social issue, it's an economic one. Homelessness puts added strain on public services and represents a failure to capitalize on the potential productivity of thousands of individuals. Now, let's turn our attention to immigration, an often debated topic in economic circles. On the one hand, Canada's immigration policy has been praised for attracting skilled workers and entrepreneurs. After all, Canada accepts more immigrants per capita than any other G7 country. However, there's another side to this coin. While immigration can fill labor gaps and stimulate economic growth, it also brings challenges. The influx of new residents exacerbates housing demand, contributing to already skyrocketing real estate prices. Many immigrants also face employment barriers, which can lead to underemployment or even unemployment, thereby adding strain on social welfare programs. And then there's another time bomb: government debt. As of 2023, Canada's provincial and federal debt surpassed $2.1 trillion in total. This is especially concerning as it limits the government's ability to introduce new fiscal policies, especially in times of crisis. While debt in itself isn't always bad, the speed at which it's accumulating poses questions about its sustainability. As the debt grows, so does the interest that needs to be paid on it, diverting funds that could otherwise be spent on public services or investment in infrastructure. This mounting debt is not just numbers on a page, it has real-world implications. It affects Canada's credit rating, the value of its currency, and most importantly, its economic stability for future generations. Let's also talk about inflation, the silent thief that erodes the purchasing power of consumers. During 2022, Canada's inflation rate reached the highest 7.59%, much above the Bank of Canada's target range. This is hitting everyday Canadians hard, as the cost of groceries, gas, and basic services are all creeping up. Rising inflation can also exacerbate the existing problems we've discussed. It puts additional pressure on households already struggling with debt, makes housing even less affordable, and can hinder social programs aimed at helping the homeless and vulnerable populations. As you may know, Canada is the fourth largest oil producer in the world. Sounds impressive, right? But there's more to the story. Over the last decade, the energy sector has faced significant setbacks. Oil prices have been incredibly volatile, with a drastic decline in 2014 and 2015, and another significant hit due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, environmental concerns and activism have slowed down the approval and construction of key pipelines, like the Keystone XL and Trans Mountain expansions. Currently, oil price is at record height at this moment, which also leads to high inflation rate. How would the scenario unfold if oil prices were to decline in the future? The decline in the energy sector will lead to job losses and reduced revenue for the Canadian government, which in turn affects public spending on crucial services. This contributes to economic instability and adds another layer of complexity to Canada's already troubled economic landscape. Last but not the least, there's one more essential aspect of Canada's economic landscape that we need to discuss: healthcare, which is the most severe time bomb mentioned at the beginning. Canada is known globally for its universal healthcare system, which is often cited as a point of national pride. But, like other sectors we've discussed, healthcare has its own set of challenges that ripple into the economy. First, let's talk about the good stuff. Canada's healthcare system has some of the highest standards of care in the world, and it's accessible to all citizens regardless of their financial standing. Sounds great, right? That's why Canadians who worked out of Canada when they were young would like to return to Canada when they were retired. These people can also avoid paying taxes to Canada when they are working out of country by applying as non-resident for income tax purposes. However, universal doesn't mean free. Healthcare expenditures are a significant part of Canada's budget, making up nearly 12.2% of GDP in 2022 and following the highest 13.8% in 2020. With an aging population including those returning Canadian, these costs are expected to rise, adding more fiscal pressure on the government, which is already grappling with high debt levels. But wait, there's more. Despite the high spending, the system isn't as efficient as one would hope. Long waiting times for procedures and appointments are common complaints. These inefficiencies not only affect the quality of life but also have economic implications. Longer waiting times mean more time off work, which impacts productivity. Additionally, there's a rising concern about brain drain within the healthcare sector. Skilled professionals, enticed by higher-paying opportunities in the United States and other countries, are leaving Canada. This not only depletes the quality of healthcare but also represents a loss of valuable human capital for the Canadian economy. What if Canadian government cannot afford its universal healthcare system anymore? According to a new study from the Fraser Institute, a family of 2 adults and 2 children cost an estimated $15,847 for public healthcare in 2022. What if this money will need to be paid directly out of pocket by Canadians? Who can afford such high cost, given that Canadian already had such high debt-to-income ratio as mentioned earlier? Well, there you have it, an in-depth look at some of the critical factors that make Canada's economic situation a complex puzzle. It's not all doom and gloom, but understanding these challenges is the first step towards creating solutions. Thank you for staying with me through this exploration. If you found this informative and want to keep the conversation going, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more discussions like this one. Every click, share, and comment helps to shine a light on these complex but crucial issues. Until next time, take care.